great consequence. This matchup really is the quintessence of an AFCON qualifier. Now, it's safe to say that qualification fever lingers in the air, and whatever happened in the events of the past mean very little right now. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, the 35th of its kind, is the kind of event Namibia as well as Kenya are yearning to partake in. And we are live from the Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg, and it should be a really good contest between two bright sides. After tonight's proceedings, the international window will shut and the protagonists will return to their clubs in either a deflated and defeatist or positive state of mind. That remains to be seen. Now, these two countries and their modern football idols rarely collide, but tonight they meet on a storied stage, a location steeped in heritage, and although matches between Kenya and Namibia are infrequent, their visitations to South Africa certainly are not. Now, my commentary companion for this titanic clash between Namibia and Kenya, a big collision here at the Orlando Stadium, is Mr. Mark Haskins, a man who participated in a few CHAN qualifiers. Inform the viewers of what it is like to partake in a qualifier, Mark.
Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking, but once again, good evening to our viewers, and it is an important occasion because anytime you don your country's jersey, it is a massive and monumental moment in your life as a footballer, and so cannot be taken lightly. This is what it's all about. You play for your club to earn a living, but you play for your country for the passion of it. You want to, go out there and really put everything on the line for your country because you are representing an entire nation. So it cannot be overstated, understated, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. But it is a massive moment for the respective teams.
Now, this is the home team's changing room. A behind-the-scenes look. Namibia will be donning the blue kit this evening. And this is Kenya arriving early on, led by their coach, Engin Firat. The leading tactical brain behind the Kenyan cause was quite satisfied with the gutsy nature of his team performance against Zimbabwe, but he hopes for more creativity tonight, Mark.
Yeah, certainly. The coach kept saying that this is a very open group, and he continues to say that, the fact that none of the three teams in Kenya, Zimbabwe, as well as Namibia have home ground advantage just evens out everything. And so they certainly want to put their best foot forward. He was a little annoyed at the fact that people were saying they sat back in the game against Zimbabwe when he felt that they didn't do so. But they definitely will want to put their best foot forward because their next match is up against the group favorites in Cameroon. So they will want to make sure they don't slip up this evening.
Now, just a quick lay of the land. Cameroon are first in this Group J. Kenya are second. Zimbabwe are third. And Namibia are currently rock bottom of this group after their defeat against Cameroon. You spoke to Colin Benjamin before the game started, during the pre-match interview, of course. Is there anything you think that they would want to really sharpen up this evening?
Well, he's quite happy with how the team have applied themselves and how they've gone about their business. So he knows that it was a massive ask of the players out in Cameroon. So he's happy with where the team is at. He says the spirits within the camp is really great. So I don't think there's too much he feels that needs to be rectified. He feels that they put up a solid performance against the group favorites in Cameroon, away from home no less, against the partisan crowd. And so he definitely is happy with how his team is performing and how they're shaping up coming into this match.
Now, Colin Benjamin is adamant that this match should not be pinned as a must win, but it's certainly a must not lose kind of encounter. The same can be said in the group that South Africa find themselves in, and it was very important for them not to lose against South Sudan, and they actually came away with all 3 points. But you would think that if Namibia are to endure a nauseating defeat against Kenya tonight, it would really make their prospects of qualification a whole lot difficult.
Yeah, certainly. I think he puts it very clearly, and it's all about the math. Ultimately, they have 15 points still to play for, and generally, I would say 8 points would be enough. Coach Engin Firat of Kenya feels that possibly 6 points would be enough to get through and qualify, because we know that the top two teams make it through from every group. There are 12 groups. Two teams in each group will qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations, and that will make out 24 teams that we need. And so he felt that even 6 points is needed, and both teams have 15 to play for. And so it's still very much in their hands. But yes, if they were to lose today, it would be a tough ask for them to recover from there. But he says it's not panic stations, it's not a do or die match just yet. And there's still a lot of football to be played. So certainly coming into it with a very positive outlook.
So we're waiting for these two teams to meet in the foyer. There's the captain of Namibia, Hanamub, still on the books of AmaZulu. There was rumors that he was being monitored by Orlando Pirates as well as Kaizer Chiefs. But for now, he remains, as I said, on the books of AmaZulu. He leads a Namibian outfit tonight that is slightly changed. 2 changes for them, also 2 changes for Kenya. We'll get into those a little bit later on. But one thing that I did pick up on, a lot of these players did actually partake for Colin Benjamin in the recent COSAFA Cup in PE.
I think that he has the privilege of coaching a team that play in the region, and so it's easy for him to call a lot of them. They either play in South Africa or in Botswana or in their home nation of Namibia. So there are not many internationals to call on, and that's why it makes it easier for him to call on his so-called tried and tested and his first choice squad. As we see Ronnie Cananelo there, former assistant coach and obviously a legendary goalkeeper of Namibia. He's in the stands watching, and not many other supporters in the ground, unfortunately.
So on paper, Mark, it's a home match for Namibia, but in reality, it doesn't really feel that way. So Kenya will really be up for the challenge, and they will really be fancy their chances.
Yeah, I mean, neither one of these teams have the luxury of playing in their home nation in these qualifiers. Unfortunately, they don't have suitable venues, and whatever the case may be. And so ultimately, when they do play, they know they have to take advantage, because it's basically neutral games. All these matches are played at pretty much neutral venues, and so they need to just make the most of it.
So it looks like we are ready to go. The players and the referees are ready to come out onto the field. We are also under the lights at the Orlando Stadium. So considering the last 12 months, it's difficult to think back to a time when Namibian football was in this good a shape, from qualifying for the last AFCON to producing their best showing to their recent COSAFA Cup run. The Brave Warriors have given the people back home a whole lot to smile about. But the catch is, there is an expectation to do it all again, and in superior fashion as well. From Orlando to Windhoek to Namibia, from the shifting sand dunes of Swakopmund to the endless bustle of Mombasa, the outcome of this match is of great interest to many an African. Now, before the rush begins and the players zero in on their goal, the national anthems will now be sung. That is Namibia, Land of the Brave, and Oh God, Our Strength.
And now, the national anthem of Namibia.
There's a great deal of pride and emotion amongst both sets of players, although they did seem to have cut the Kenyan national anthem short. But be that as it may, who will find that happy medium between emotion and tactical prudence this evening? Kenya are the betting underdogs for this qualifier. That said, they have obtained some eye-catching victories over other national teams that were deemed as favorites in 2024. So after the disappointment Namibia sustained against Cameroon, Colin Benjamin has decided that 2 changes will suffice. Muzio is one of the new inclusions, and he'll play on the left in front of Hotto and next to Prince Chiweza. The other change is between the goalposts. Kazapua is in and Maova is out. Big call, Mark.
Certainly a big call there, and I mean, I thought Maova did really well, obviously against a firing Cameroonian team, but Lloyd Kazapua has been their number 1 for the longest of time. He was, you know, in sticks, between the sticks in the Africa Cup of Nations earlier this year, and he did really well. We know that he's now donning the jersey of Skokone United. But certainly difficult to choose between the two. But Lloyd, I think his experience is more than anything what will be called upon this evening.
So the leading referee for this tie is Salisu Bashir from Nigeria. He's also assisted by 3 other Nigerians, including the 4th official, and the match commissioner is Tibalo Mpiti from Lesotho. So the 2 captains coming toe-to-toe for now, without the football, of course. That being Okumu for Kenya and Peter Shalulile for Namibia. We'll see how they fare. Now, just like Colin Benjamin, Engin Firat has also opted to make a few alterations, 3 to be exact. Omondi makes way, and in his stead starts Avire, who is joined by Ayunga and Ibiero up top. In the midfield, Okumu Agay starts, Abuya and Odada. And in the backline, Eric Otieno, Ukumu, Ahono, and Onyango starts on the right-hand side when he started on the right wing against Zimbabwe. So a slight change in position for him. And Omondi Odiambo retains his place in goal. So in terms of the tactical lineups, it's a back 4 for Kenya. And that typical Colin Benjamin shape, the 3-4-3 or the 3-5-2. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I've always said that I don't believe that formations are a thing in the modern game. You know, you look at how teams defend and attack. They defend in one formation, they attack in another. And so it's all about who's prepared the best and who's really gonna, apply themselves on the day, which tactic works better. But ultimately, it's gonna be a battle out there, and certainly both sets of players are ready for this. They know the importance of this matchup, and neither one will want to go away with anything less than 3 points.
So the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will be heading to Morocco for the first time since 1988. Namibia and Kenya would bask in the opportunity to play their stuff in wonderful venues like Rabat, Casablanca and Marrakesh. But their qualifying journey has now brought them to Orlando. Kenya will be kicking off wearing the all-white, Namibia with the blue tops and the red shorts. Just a few seconds remain until impact is had. Let's see how the show unfolds between Namibia and Kenya. The second qualifier for both nations is officially underway. Namibia at home on paper facing the Kenyans. Namibia's first qualifier did not go according to plan, but a bounce back is what they crave here in Orlando. It's a match they really can't afford to lose. So I guess will they be paralyzed by the pressure or motivated by it? Here's Eric Otieno. He's starting on the left-hand side of a back 4, as I alluded to, for Kenya. Loose touch there from Akumu Agay. Good early pressure applied there by the Namibians. And it's taken here from Muziu. Takes it down well. And then Akumu Agay just mops up the threat. Here's Okumu, the captain for Kenya. His centre-half partner is Ahono. Here's Eric Otieno again. So from what you've seen from the Namibian shape, what do you make of it, Mark?
Well, it seems like it is almost a 4-2-3-1 in terms of the way they've set up, and it remains to be seen whether it will stay that way, but definitely a rigid back 4. They've got in the right fullback position, Kambaripa. And I think he'll operate down this right flank, whether, you know, he forms part of a back three, that remains to be seen, but he seems very much to be playing as a right wing back.
It'll also be very interesting to see where Peter Shalulile occupies himself this evening. Will he play straight down the middle, or perhaps down the right, down the left? I think it's a fluid front line that both Namibia and Kenya are opting for. It looks like Muziu is starting on the right-hand side for the Brave Warriors. Here's Eric Otieno again, seeing it for the third time very early on. Mbira Hanamub goes back to Kazapua, made the move to Sukuni United a few weeks ago after forming part of that Chippa United team for a fair few number of seasons. Here's Shidolo. He's playing in the midfield with Pietrus. It was a very good relationship that those two concocted and constructed during the Kosafa Cup. Here's Dion Hotto, doesn't reach. Dion Hotto plays as a more traditional left fullback for his club side here in Orlando Pirates. But for his country, much more forwards, very close to Peter Shalulile. Does possess a lot of attacking threat. Does Dion Hotto, scored in that second leg of that MTN8 semi-final against Cape Town City to see Orlando Pirates through to yet another cup final.
Well, you can see also that Kenya definitely have a rigid back four. They're very comfortable in possession, just keeping hold of it, not risking possession, just making sure that they are not loose in possession, as I say that the ball is given away.
Peter Shalulile, nice little back heel to Muziu. Back to Peter Shalulile, takes a slip and a tumble, and Kenya are able to clear their lines. It's up towards Ayunga, and it's taken off his toes by Pietrus. Good switch from Hambira. Here's Prince Chiweza. Every moment there, we saw what happened on Friday night, of course, with Veli Motwa. Clean take, relatively clean take that time around.
I wouldn't say that's a clean take at all. I think Omonde he had his heart in his mouth there for a second, because as that ball would slip through his fingers, it could so easily have gone into the back of the net. Luckily for him, you know, he just gathers it at the second attempt.
So since the new club season began, this is now the fifth match that the Orlando Stadium has been tasked with hosting. Across the last 4 matches that were staged here this season so far, an incredible 14 goals were scored, and we should get a few more during this clash. It was a 2-2 draw between South Africa and Uganda here on Friday night. But these two teams usually tend to keep things nice and tight and really focus on maintaining that clean sheet above anything else.
That would be the first order of business. You don't concede, you can't lose, and you know that's generally the approach. Make sure that defensively you are solid, and then you allow obviously your attackers to take over from there.
Really good switch, Abuya. Here's Obiero, and then Avire for Kenya. That's a neat little spin there from Pietrus. And Muziu let loose. Always a willing runner. We saw that during the Kosafa Cup. He was Namibia's top goal scorer during that tournament, but ineffective in that final against Angola, where Namibia were thumped by 5 goals to nothing. Here's Okumu. Hono. Kenya take the risk from playing out of the back, and they've drawn the Namibian numbers, and there's some space that has developed for Onyango, and they go long yet again.
Well, Namibia have to be very careful, because at the moment, every time they press forward and try to put the Kenyan defense under pressure, they are kind of exposing themselves to a 4v4 situation in the back. And it's in that moment, it just needed a quality ball. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the ball that was needed in order to put them under pressure, but Kenya playing with 4 players very high, so it's almost a 4-2-4 formation is what it looks like, because they have a front 4 operating. They got 2 players operating down the middle, Odada and Akumu, that are just holding the fort in front of the defense, but then everyone else very high up the field.
So in the opening exchanges, Kenya seeing more of the football. As for Namibia, they're quite comfortable in their shape. They do have quite a few speedsters and tricksters in the final third, as do Kenya. Here's Eric Otieno up against Kambaripa, who commits the foul there for Namibia. It's good work done again from Eric Otieno. High-flying fullback he is. And easily spotted by Salisu Bashir.
Well, an opportunity to put the ball into the 18 area to just put the Namibian defense under pressure. Otieno stands over it, so it will be a swinging away from Kazapua.
So first chance of the game then, and it falls to Kenya. Eric Otieno, after being fouled, steps up to take this free kick. Namibia have opted for quite a high line. Kenya just have to remain on side. Really good ball in. A big test for that Namibian back line. But they do get away with it, and they do obtain a throw in. Two players, I think, just collided with their heads.
Yeah, just a clash of heads as the ball was driven in. You know, both players really working hard to try and get on the end of it, but unfortunately the clash of heads there leaves both players on the ground, and it is always a tough one when you get you know, the knock to the head, and there's always the worry of concussion. But both players seem to be okay. Both are back on their feet. I think it was Amutenya from Namibia and the big man Okomu, the captain of Kenya, who collided in that exchange.
So during Namibia's last qualifying foray, the Brave Warriors managed some massive victories, none bigger than the away win over Cameroon and Burundi. They are still looking for their first victory during these qualifiers for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. So are Kenya. But so far, these two teams are still feeling one another out. One expects the game to open up as the game ticks on by.
Yeah, certainly it's still early stages, and when you look at it, neither team has really settled and taken a stranglehold of the game just yet. But it is early days, and it is a long way to go, and both teams will want to make sure, first order of business, nothing loose, don't give away anything cheap.
So here's Hanamub for Namibia. Not many options in the center of the park. Petrus, Shidolo not really getting close to the defenders, playing much closer to the likes of Prince Chueze and Peter Shalulile. Here's Hambira, currently plays in the third tier of South African football with TS Sporting. Here's Petrus, and then Shidolo. Petrus, quite conservative approach early on by the Namibians. It's exactly what we were privy to when they took on Cameroon, which is always a tough prospect to face. Here's Kambaripa, likes to get forward, so that might be an avenue, a channel that Kenya would like to exploit. Chance here then on the transition. Kenya trying to steal the ball high up the field. Hanamub hugging that touchline, can play out wide and towards the center as well. Here's Dion Hotto, puts his head down to motor on for Namibia. They are yet to produce their first goal-scoring opportunity. Still Hotto retains possession, keeps the move alive, and that's a very poor giveaway by Petrus, trying to find Shidolo. Kenya can't combine a few passes together effectively as well. Tricky start for both these teams. There's Hanamub again, Peter Shalulile, that's a very nice take. So was that little touch from Prince Chueza. Here's Peter Shalulile still shaping up for a shot, and he does give it a very good crack, and he cracks it against the head of Okumu.
A good block there from Okumu, and it comes back in, and it is easily into the hands of the goalkeeper for Kenya, Omonde. But ultimately, two strikes there. Now you can see kind of Namibia trying to, you know, assert themselves in this game, keeping possession beautifully and being very patient in their build-up.
Well, we're seeing much more of Namibia this time around. Here's Petrus, Dion Hotto. It's a difficult one to monitor for the Kenyan outfield players. Peter Shalulile tries to bamboozle Abuya, doesn't take the bait. 10 minutes in, still very cagey. Petrus, one at the 1-2. Here's Peter Shalulile. He's coming quite a bit deep in this game to do exactly that, to combine with the speedy wingers. Muzeu. Here's Kambaripa, the fullback, joining in the attack. He retreats to Amutenya. On paper, supposed to play that central defensive role for Namibia. Here's Petrus. Lovely floated ball into the box from Petrus. And a good run. And a promising attack comes to an end for Namibia. Obiero for Kenya. Here's Odada, receiving the ball in quite a bit of pressure. Here's Odada again. Akumu again. And every time Kenya get the ball, they just seem to slow it down before they speed it up again. Namibia tend to do the same thing. So far for Namibia, Dion Hotto, Pietrus, Muzeu, as well as Peter Shalulile seems to be their bright sparks. As for Kenya, Mark, Ayunga, looking relatively fit and firing so far.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think they're, just up front, they're very imposing. Ayunga using his body beautifully, and then the runs of Avire as well in and around him makes it very difficult for the Namibian defense. But you can see the interchange between the two up top. It's Ayunga as well as Avire playing in almost the 9 and 10 position, but they're interchanging. Neither one is playing high up consistently. They literally interchanging between the two of them and making it difficult for the Namibian defense to track them.
It's definitely a fascinating chess match so far. Hanamup, the referee there, intervenes. Salisu Bashir. They'll be hoping for a nice quiet evening. Not much drama. Hambira. Now, games like these are often won by the barest of margins, and that was the case in Namibia's last match against Cameroon. The Brave Warriors kept things tremendously tight until Vincent Abubakar broke the deadlock in the 66th minute for the indomitable Lions. And here come Kenya. Ayunga just stallied on it a bit too long, Mark.
Ayunga unsure of what he wanted to do with it. Beautiful pressing, forced the error coming from Kambiripa, and he tries to play it into his centre back Amuyutenya, but then the ball is intercepted, and unfortunately just indecision from Ayunga. He could have played in the runner there. He could have literally tried to find Onyango, who was getting forward, but that slight delay in releasing the ball, the opportunity was literally lost.
Here's Namibia again on the breakaway. Muziu was actually onside just a few moments ago. The referees, or the linesman's flag, went up to deny him a really good opportunity at goal. Seemed as if he was through. Be it as it may, here's Kenya. As they slowly tick away, Onyango, Abuya. Very composed and measured stuff from the Arambi Stars. Ahono. Here's Eric Otieno. Looks for that ball around the corner, but Pietrus and Chidola were pressing very high for Namibia. And that's a very good header from Hambira. Now a big chance for Namibia here. Is that a penalty or a free kick on the edge of the box?
That's definitely a free kick. It was not inside the area, but you have to ask why the card is not brandished, because was that a goal-scoring opportunity? I don't think it was a red card offense, but certainly a yellow card, because the defender, I think it was Onyango in that moment, knew exactly what he was doing, as it was, the number 10, Chueza, getting in behind, takes a good first touch, and Onyango just runs right over him.
So this is definitely Dion Hotto, perhaps even Prince Chuesa territory. Very early to concede a free kick in that kind of position. Very early to concede a yellow card for Onyango as well.
Yeah, certainly. I think, he knew that he needed to kind of do anything to stop Chueza in his tracks, because Chueza had gotten beyond them. He took a great first touch, and he just went right through the back of him. Luckily, just outside the 18 area, so no penalty shout there, but certainly the right decision. It's going to take a great deal of effort to get it up and down that close to the 18 area. We'll see if they go for power or try to get it up and down over the wall.
So what do Namibia have planned? What do they have up their sleeves? Amondi Oriambo is busy constructing his wall, and it looks like it's either going to be Prince Chuesa or Dion Hotto. Very central position occupied by Amondi Oriambo in his goal, and a very deep line also from the Kenyans. So they could play it short, but they will, in all likelihood, go for glory, go for goal. But who will it be, Dion Hotto or Prince Chiweza? Looks like it will be the younger of the two. Chiweza for Namibia. That's a very good hit. Question is, did the goalkeeper get a touch?
He did. It needed an intervention from Omondi. They just had to tip it over. Great strike, great pace on it. Seemed to be dipping as well. Not quite sure it did enough to get under the post, but certainly Omondi did not know about that, and so taking no chances, he just tips it over the crossbar.
So from that resulting free kick, Namibia, the Brave Warriors, have a corner, and they've decided to flood the 6-yard box just to try and blind Omondi Odhiambo in that Kenyan goal. It's a white wall, and they're threatening Namibian attack. Here's Prince Chiweza. Great feet, great ball into the box. And it comes to nothing in the end. There's a player down for Namibia.
It's Amutenya. The ball was driven in. I mean, it was more of a shot than anything from Chiweza out wide. He drove it in there, and I think it went right into the midsection of Amutenya. And I think it's just a case of him getting winded, and it's going to take him a second or two to recover from that one. But a delightful ball driven in there by Chiweza. Just needed someone to get any kind of touch and send it goalward, and that possibly could have been the opening goal.
So the big centre half, Amutenya, just slightly winded from that blow. There was a flick on in the near post region. Lovely ball in from Prince Chiweza. And before that, a great free kick as well. His intention wasn't really to get it over the wall, but to rather catch the goalkeeper by surprise with the powerful shot. But a good save nonetheless for Omondi Odhiambo. So Namibia have grown in confidence, and they are very much in the tie now. As for the Kenyans, very staunch in defense, and they've also had their moments in attack, but as the coach mentioned to you, Mark, before the game started, he just wants more creativity in that final third.
And I think both coaches have lamented that, and you know, that is a problem, I guess, in global football. Just what do we do in that final third? How much quality do we have in that final third? Decision making, quality of decision making is at times can be a very big problem.
Dion Hotto gives chase, so does Eric Otieno for Kenya, and it's off Muziu last.
I think Hanamo will be frustrated there because he made a great run, and Chiweza chose to play the difficult pass to try and find Hotto, but Hanamo was probably the better option.
Kenya emerge with it. Avire takes a flailing arm to the face, I think, and the referee gives another yellow card, this time to a Namibian player.
It's Hambira there with the yellow card, and you know, it's one of those difficult ones because he's got the run on his opponent, and it was Avire that he was competing with, and he just puts out his arm to try and kind of just shield him from the ball, but unfortunately he strikes him in the face, and we know the new laws by FIFA says any contact or any striking in the face of an opponent is an immediate yellow card.
And there it is again, clear hand in the face of Avire. The breakaway was definitely on, but Hambira put it to an end, illegally though. And that Kenyan free kick is taken quickly, and play goes from left to right. Here's Obiero. He goes back to his goalkeeper, Omondi Odhiambo. So after a very tentative start from both teams, we've seen 2 yellow cards, a few opportunities as well. The game has officially been ignited.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's definitely a game where you can see both teams are eager to really make a play for this 3 points. Neither team sitting back and parking the bus in any kind of way, shape or form. Both teams feel that this is a game that is there to be won.
So the other 2 teams in Group J, Zimbabwe and Cameroon, are also currently in the heat of battle, and their match is taking place at the much utilized Mandela National Stadium in Uganda. I think it was Zimbabwe that was prevented a training session yesterday. Be that as it may, here's Eric Otieno for Kenya, who also played in Kampala on Saturday evening. It's going to be another Namibian throw-in. So Colin Benjamin himself ran out in Namibian colours on 41 occasions from 1999 to 2012. And his counterpart, Engin Firat, just recently celebrated his 54th birthday. He was born in Istanbul, and just like his counterpart, he spent many a season in Germany. The height of his success in that country occurred between 2000 and 2002, during which he was the manager of Eintracht Frankfurt. As for Colin Benjamin, he hasn't coached as many teams as Engin Firat has. He's only been the assistant coach of Namibia, and now to the head coach of the Brave Warriors. A great honor for him indeed. Free kick here for the Namibians. A few words exchanged between Avire and Hambira. And Hambira needs to be quite careful.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he is on that yellow, and Aviwe will probably be looking to make him very uncomfortable, to possibly try and lure him into another offense, which would see him have to vacate the field.
There's a honor for Kenya as well to find a ball to Abuya. And then it's out again, finds that Kenyan dugout. In Firat's 27-year coaching career, Kenya is only the second national team he has managed. The first was Moldova just a few years ago. Limited success he had over there. Okumu, captain of Kenya, drilling it forwards towards Oyunga. Now Kenya have a potentially prosperous attack going here. Onyango intercepted over there by Amutenya. Here's Petrus. Mops up and does well to find the ball to Peter Shalulile. Very clean stuff from Peter Shalulile. Takes a blow as well. Yet to score this season for his club side. Mamelodi Sundowns had a tough Africa Cup of Nations as well. But he's had some few neat and tidy touches this evening.
Yeah, certainly. We know he is a predatory marksman, and on his day among the best on the continent. Just hasn't had the greatest of periods recently. But we always say that form is temporary, but class is permanent, and he certainly is a class player.
And you also alluded to it, Mark. Strikers, forwards, should not only be judged by the amount of goals they scored, but also the efforts that they make in the build-up phase.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he works tirelessly for the team. He leads by example. Nobody would cover more ground than Peter Shalulile. More often than not, you know, he really leads the line from the front when it comes to pressing defensively. When it comes to, availing himself for his teammates, he'll always be there and thereabout.
Amutenya's ball is very ambitious. And it goes out for another Kenyan goal kick.
And again, now we speak about a lack of quality in that final third. Again, it comes down to decision making. What exactly is the route to goal?
Amondi Oriambo put under a tremendous amount of pressure from Dion Hotto. Amutenya with the recovering header. Here's Petrus. The lefty in the midfield for Namibia is fouled. And those fouls are starting to rack up, and I think Salisu Bashir just wants to have a word here.
Yeah, certainly wants to make sure that, the guys make sure the game is played in the manner that it should be. No unnecessary fouls, no unnecessary stoppages. Let the game flow as much as possible.
So the Brave Warriors were definitely a great watch during the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. Although they were swept aside by the South Africans, Namibia did pick up a point against Mali and an incredible victory against 2004 AFCON winners, Tunisia, who they also have to face in their World Cup qualification group as well. There's Peter Shalulile. Kambaripa tries to get on the overlap. Still Shalulile. Good combination play by the Namibians on this right-hand side. Petrus, heavy touch from him, and it allows Kenya to find an exit route. Hambira spreads the play to the left-hand side, where Prince Chiweza is waiting. Nice little disguised ball, but Petrus didn't get on the end of it.
Yeah, good defending ultimately there from the captain, Okomu, making sure that he gets between Petrus and the pass from Chiweza.
And Namibia come again. Dion Hotto playing as a center midfielder for now. Difficult pass for Muziu to trap and control. Kambaripa this time leading the charge. It's a swift defensive move over there by Hambira. It's kept in there initially. Yeah, Namibia have a throw in. Great work done there by Kamberipa and Muziu together in a conjunction.
Yeah, certainly. I think, Kamberipa didn't give up on that ball, and in so doing made sure that he kept it alive for his team and they keep a possession.
Here's Muziu. Tries to get the better of Eric Otieno, who'll just look to shepherd that ball out of play. And gets the consolation prize. It's going to be a free kick for him and his country. Just a word on Muziu. He's scored an impressive 17 goals for Black Leopards last season in the Motsepe Foundation Championship. None so far this season. Good battle between himself and Eric Otieno. Otieno does have pace and he does have quite a bit of power, so Muziu will have to, I think, bring out his bag of tricks in order to beat that left fullback. Here's Muziu. Poor pass from him. That's good footwork from Eric Otieno, but the pass is poor. Here's Peter Shalulile trying to pounce on that error. And Ahono does well for Kenya, just to shut the door.
Well, the tackle from behind there, it is from Pietrus, but unfortunately, a promising break attack there comes to nothing. But you can see both sets of players living dangerously at times, and it seems like if the deadlock is going to be broken, it might be through an error, Ray, because both sets of players already have committed one or two errors that could have been punished, but unfortunately not clinical enough from the respective teams to do so.
Well, could the opener come now? Oyunga has a go. Exceptional block. There's been a free kick. It's been awarded the other way. Very lively attack by the Kenyans. Back to front in next to no time. Oyunga hit that with great ferocity.
Yeah, Oyunga thought that he maybe would have gotten a handball there. It seemed like it came off the arm of Amutenya, but his arm, I think, was in a natural position, so nothing really given there. And then as the ball was cleared, it clearly struck the outstretched arm of Oyunga.
So a little bit of a scare there survived by the Brave Warriors. Mbira finds Hanamub. Has Petrus. He's playing in that inside left channel for the Namibians. Now back to Kazapua, quite capable with the ball at his feet. Just like the man on the bench as well, Maova. Mbira looks to go through the center, risky pass to try and pull off. Then Akumo Age's pass is also cut out. Here's Prince Chiwesa, signed with Cape Town City just before the start of the Kusafa Cup. Petrus, Dion Hotto, drops the shoulder, finds Peter Shalulile, who gives it to him in turn. Peter Shalulile on the move, on the prowl. Very active so far, as is Kamberipa and Muziu for Namibia. Chance here for a cross, and the cutback is a good one. It will fall to Dion Hotto, who keeps the move alive for Namibia. And they eventually retreat.
They're forced to go back, but it was a good spell of pressure there from Namibia. They need to keep that pressure up in order to unlock this stubborn Kenyan defense up to this point.
Ball up towards the towering Peter Shalulile is also intercepted by Ahono. Kotieno, it's loose. Petrus in a plethora of space. Nice little ball to Dion Hotto, who just tried to tickle it towards Peter Shalulile, but it was intercepted by Odada. Here's Onyango on the right-hand side for Kenya. And on the overlap was that man, Odada. Onyango goes inwards. There's Shidolo for Namibia. Seems to be playing at the base of that Namibian midfield when we initially expected him to play further forwards, much closer to Prince Chiwesa. Ahono. Eric Otieno. Half an hour in, still scoreless between Namibia and Kenya. Scoreless, but certainly had its bits of entertainment so far. Abuya puts in a really good cross and a nice jump. Just got the contact wrong.
Well, great jump there from Avire, challenged by Amutenya. I think Amutenya just did enough to, make him uncomfortable as he rose beautifully to get his head on that one, but nowhere near the goal of Lloyd Kazapua. It comes to nothing, but again, worrying times there at the back of, allowing the striker to get there ahead of the defender. That needs to be addressed.
Offside there against Peter Shalulile.
Not an offside, Ray. I think it's actually just he's been fouled for kind of blocking just blocking the run of Okomu. The ball was played all the way over, and Peter Shalulile kind of just blocked his run so that he could get in behind. I'm not sure if I fully agree with that one. It was offside indeed.
A bit of both. There's the block as well on Ohono.
But I don't think the flag was raised. The assistant referee did. It can't be an offside, in fact. Because it was a goal kick, there was no offside, and that's what Peter Shalulile was playing on. He was behind the defender, but because it's a goal kick, he can't be deemed offside. So Kazapua played it all the way beyond the last line of defense, and Shalulile just blocked his defender.
So that's definitely an interesting tactical ploy that Namibia and Colin Benjamin has definitely worked on. It's a blind spot that you can really try and look to exploit. Here come Kenya. Ohono. So as good of some of these Namibian players were during the Kosafa Cup in the showpiece final of that event, Angola were definitely rampant and ruthless, and their profile is definitely quite similar to that of Kenya. So far, it's been a tight tussle here in Orlando. And Mutenya, Hambira and Hanamub have some work to do here, but Pietrus does it for them, puts it out for a corner kick for Kenya, who will really fancy their chances over here, especially from the dead ball situations. Have a few players with tremendous height within their ranks, and a few of the big boys, Okumu, Ohono, Onyango, Abuya, have made their way into the center.
Yeah, certainly quite a few imposing figures in there for Kenya, and Okumu none more so than Okumu, the captain. He'll certainly want to make his presence felt in that 18 area.
So the corner kick taker, Kenya's designated set-piece specialist. It's the left boot of Eric Otieno. Just making sure he's good to go. Does get the go-ahead by Salisu Bashir. Eric Otieno, fingertips there from Kazapua. Just was enough to put it beyond Oyunga. And for some reason, Namibia have been awarded a throw-in. I suspect the goalkeeper did get a fingertip on it.
Well, I guess from the referee's vantage point, he didn't see much in that, and so it is a throw, and it is Kambaripa on this right flank to take it.
So it is worth noting that the last time Kenya took to the AFCON stage, they generated a mixed bag of results, but a lot of entertainment nonetheless. They were meticulously taken apart by the eventual champions, Algeria, and then they defeated Tanzania in a 5-goal thriller, and then thereafter, Senegal just simply mauled them. They've played more than 120 minutes of football, and they are yet to concede a goal during these AFCON qualifiers, and that's a massive feather in their cap, and that of Engin Firat. But the question is, how long can they hold on to it?
Well, when you look at how they've managed the game thus far, they've really done well to keep Namibia at bay, but also on the parts of Namibia, they've done well to get the ball forward, but once they get into that final third, again, a lack of quality that we are going to lament this evening. They need to do better in terms of just trying to break down that Kenyan defense.
Well, that is simply sublime from Pietrus. Pass doesn't match though. Prince Chiwesa desperately tries to feed off the scraps, but Pietrus is down on the turf. Or is it Prince Chiwesa?
No, it is Pietrus who's down on the turf, and it was a late tackle coming in there from Akumu after he flicked the ball over his head and got beyond him and played the pass. The late tackle there on the play, and that's why Akumu will go into the referee's book.
So it will be the third yellow card this evening, 35 minutes into the tie. It's proving to be quite a physical brawl. Anthony Okumu-Agay is the third player booked and the second Kenyan to be booked.
Yeah, certainly it is tough out there, but you can see the late challenge there can really be, dangerous, especially because there is a planted foot there from Pietrus, and any tackle that just comes in the wrong way can be very devastating.
Prince Chiwesa on the half turn. Here's Peter Shalulile. A few nervy touches, but he does exceptionally well to move it along swiftly, does Peter Shalulile. And then another very difficult pass for Muziu to deal with, but he does so. Kambaripa drills it at Peter Shalulile, who takes it in his stride. From the weaker foot, he can't find the pass to Dion Hotto.
And I think you're using the right word there, Ray. Drills it into the feet of Peter Shalulile. And that, I think, for me, watching this Namibian team has been very worrying, because at this level of the game, you know, we shouldn't be talking about the weight of your pass, because these guys are all professionals, knowing that how important the weight of your pass is. But they have been literally playing and driving the ball into the feet of their teammates and making it very difficult for them to control. And that's one thing they need to do better.
On top of that, the Kenyan players have really not afforded them a lot of time on the football as well.
And you can understand you wanting to move the ball around quickly and wanting to really shift your opponent, but if it's difficult for your teammate to control the ball, that's where, you know, you're asking for trouble, because any miscontrol of a ball in a dangerous area, and that's where we see where there was almost a break attack on the part of Kenya, and where Namibia nearly conceded.
Kazapua gets rid. Now Namibia might just have an opportunity here. Okumu does just about enough for Kenya. Took a tumble in the process. And it's put out into touch from Hono.
Yeah, Oweno again, weight of your pass. I mean, it was a simple chip over the top, but too much on it, and Otieno can't get anywhere near it. So on both sides, you know, just you would expect better from these players, as you know, this is their bread and butter. Being able to pass the ball at the right weight.
Peter Shalulile took the risk there by going for the nutmeg. Works out relatively well, or initially it did for Namibia, but here is Kenya with Abuya. And then a very strong challenge in the air again from Avire. They maybe just need to utilize his strengths a little bit more. Hook it up there. Put it up there for Avire to try and contest.
Well, I think the ref also has to look at the amount of times Avira has committed fouls now. I mean, that's quite a few fouls on his opponent already.
Here's Peter Shalulile, again off the left boot, blocked by Onyango. Here's Hanemub, he also cracks it. And it's a block again by a Kenyan defender. Here's Amutenya. It's the second time that Peter Shalulile has had a go from outside of the box. Second time his shot has been blocked as well.
But again, decision-making, because it was a great run that was made by Chiweza to get beyond. If Peter just slipped him into his path, he could have taken a first touch and gone beyond the last line of defense, and would have been one-on-one with the keeper. So we speak about that decision-making. For me there, Peter making the wrong decision, going for goal when possibly Chiweza was the better option.
Relatively easy block in the end by Obiero. Off his back and then off the shoulder again from Peter Shalulile. Gave it a good whack, but again there were, as you said, Mark, better options on hand. So including that Zimbabwe and Cameroon match, there is another 6 p.m. fixture that features Liberia and Algeria. And at 9 o'clock sharp, Cape Verde, Mauritania, Benin, Libya, Zambia, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, Malawi, Chad, and Cote d'Ivoire will all look to further their qualification journeys and hopes. Here's Dion Hotto playing on the right-hand side for the first time this evening. Finds himself there and already quite productive as well. Muziu drawing the challenge.
I think Odada there, unnecessary in that foul. There was no danger. The man had his back to goal, and that's one of those tackles that really frustrate coaches, because you're going from a point of, you know, minimal danger to where the opponent can now at will put the ball into the 18 area. And we know that 70% of goals are generally scored from set plays, and they've afforded Namibia a set play in a very good position. And we know the man on the ball is a dead ball specialist. That is Dion Hotto.
This time, or the last free kick, certainly favored the right boot of Prince Chiweza. This one would say, is Dion Hotto territory. And it will be Hotto. Really good curler by Dion Hotto. About a meter wide, though.
Yeah, certainly, but you know he can bend it, and he hits it with great pace. Dion Hotto operating almost in the number 10 position. As we said, that Namibia are playing a 4-2-3-1. We have Meziu playing on the right flank and Chueza on the left with Shalulila, the target man up top. Otto playing just behind or just ahead of the two midfielders, Shidolo and Pietrus. And that's how they go in a 4-2-3-1.
It's launched up by Omondi Odhiambo. Kenya on the attack. Obiero. And then the early cross in from Onyango is deflected, and it's out for yet another Kenyan corner. They've been quite threatening. The delivery just has to be spot on again from Eric Otieno. Look out for the likes of Avire and Unyanga now for Kenya. Less than 4 minutes to go of normal time before we find out how many minutes will be added on. One suspects not too many, but you never know.
I think the game has been played in a great spirit overall, and not too much, unnecessary tackles or anything really dangerous looking to hurt an opponent. And certainly, I don't think there should be too much stoppage.
Eric Otieno gives the signal. Really good ball, and the header.
Odada there with the header. Unfortunately, just getting it wide of the goal. But again, I say worrying from a Namibian perspective that the Kenyans are able to get on the end of these set plays.
And the worrying thing in that instance was that Muziu was actually marking Odada, stole a march on him, the taller player, and it was on. Just couldn't quite divert his attempt on target.
Well, the ball driven in there by Otieno, beautifully just, flighted with a kind of whip and pace on it. But unfortunately, the ball slightly behind Odada there, and that's why he struggled to get it on target.
There's Dion Hotto again. Tricky one to handle, but he does so well enough. Hotto is Amutenya for Namibia. Less than 2 minutes to go of normal time. Hotto, Hanamub is on the inside this time. Hotto on the outside. That's a brilliant piece of skill from Dion Hotto. The Buccaneer marches forwards, as does Namibia. Shidolo. Kamberipa here on the right-hand side for the Brave Warriors. Now Muziu. The move comes to an end. That's Kenyan throw in.
Well, good work there from Avire to make sure he gets back and helps out defensively, ultimately getting the final touch to come off Kamberipa, and that attack comes to naught.
It's a good shifting by that Kenyan midfield and back line. Here's Abuya. First time ball out from Akumu Agay. And here is their number 9, Ayunga. And then Abuya. Now Obiero. Onyango. Abuya. Kenya just looking to pass the ball amongst themselves, waiting for that gap to rear its head. Here's Ohono. And they go long from Okumu. It's a brilliant spread, and it's nearly a great take from Obiero. Or Onyango, should I say.
Well, not much to write home about in terms of chances created, Ray. I think both teams will feel that, they trying to keep it tight. Expect the game to open up a bit more in the second half. We'll see as the legs tire, but certainly nothing really in the way of great chances created. Neither goalkeeper really stretched to this point.
Here's a risky throw in back to the goalkeeper, Omondi Odhiambo. Just a minute to go before the half-time whistle sounds. Perhaps one more roll of the dice for the first stanza from Namibia. Here's Prince Chiweza. Quite direct. Hanamub. Back to Prince Chiweza. 3-4 Namibian players now in the box for him to pick out. Really good ball in. It's difficult to beat those tall Kenyan defenders though.
Now that was a delightful ball, just floated in there, actually driven in, but Owino gets on the end of it and makes sure that he clears it purposefully.
It's a brilliant bit of play there from Abuya. Knew that you can't be offside from a throw-in, and one final Kenyan attack. Here's Ayunga, taken off him. It's still there for the men in white. The minute mark has been reached. All eyes on Salisu Bashir. And there we go, that's it for the first half between Namibia and Kenya. Limited opportunities for both these sides. Prince Chiwesa had that free kick opportunity and he stung the palms of Omondi Oriambo. As for Kenya, they've been quite threatening on the break and from set pieces as well. The same applies to Namibia. Just a few moments ago, Dion Hotto went close from his free kick from the right-hand side of the field. But extremely tentative mark from both the Brave Warriors and the Harambee Stars.
Yeah, I think it seems like both sets of players want to make sure that they don't lose the game. That's how it's been played, as opposed to actually going out and winning the game. Both know that there are going to be opportunities to win it, but definitely making sure that defensively that is their focal point. I think Namibia will be the happier of the two in terms of how they've gone through their build-up phases, gotten the ball forward beautifully, but ultimately just that final decision and that final pass lacking on their side. If they can correct that, I think moving into the second half, they will be in business. But hopefully the game will open up and liven up a bit more in the second half. And you know, I said it could come down to the team that makes the least mistakes, but ultimately both teams are really putting up a brave fight, but more is needed to break the deadlock.
There you have it after the first half. It's Namibia 0, Kenya 0. Still eventful nonetheless. So Mark, let's just quickly have a look at the statistics over here. Namibia having more of the ball, 3 shots on target for Namibia, none so far for Kenya. And Engin Firat will certainly be hoping that they can change that stat over there.
Yeah, certainly, and Namibia definitely dominating the ball, doing a lot better on the ball, but ultimately not enough to really unlock that Kenyan defense. I think it's been a great effort by Owino and Okomu, the two center backs. Anything that was put into that 18 area, they've dealt with aplomb. But ultimately, Namibia, the better of the two teams, I would say, in that first half, but just not enough. I don't think either team did enough to really get a goal, and ultimately that's what they'll be looking to address in the halftime break. You know, I said that it seems like Kenya are playing almost a 4-2-4 formation, and how they go about the business in that second half is going to be very telling. Do they want to hold on to the point? Do they want to go for broke and try and get the win, given that they're going to, you know, have 2 tough games coming up against Cameroon? That's going to be very, very critical in terms of how they approach the second half.
So it's halftime here in Orlando. Time for a 15-minute break. And so the protagonists are ready to go again. Namibia and Kenya are all even, scoreless after that first 45. Mark Haskins, simple question for you. What needs to change in either setup?
Well, I think both sets of play just need to be more clinical in the final third. Decision making and finishing. Ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to. I think there are definitely going to be chances. We saw players being put under pressure, making mistakes in crucial spaces. And I think more of that will happen in the second half. And so it's just who's going to be more clinical, who's going to take their opportunities. But I definitely believe there will be opportunities in the second half.
Many more opportunities than what they were privy to in the first half, one would think. Now, just a quick trip down memory lane. These two sides have met on 6 previous occasions before tonight. 4 of those games were won by the Namibians. 2 were captured by Kenya. The last time these two met, on the 8th of September in 2013, Kenya actually defeated Namibia by a single goal to nil. During that time, for the Namibian team, it was spearheaded by former Swallows Platinum Stars and Bidvest centre forward Henriku Enabuetes. I don't remember if you remember playing with them and against them.
Very good friend of mine, and absolutely love him as a person. But yes, we spent a good couple of years together at Swallows. Phenomenal character.
That's a very good steal from Petrus. And it hits the post after a save from Amondi Oriambo. The cutback was on, went for glory himself, did Petrus. Very good save from Amondi Oriambo, and the upright coming to Kenya's aid.
I said that it might come down to a mistake, and it's a mistake in at the back. You know, too much time on the ball there. I think it was the captain, in fact, Okomu, who lost it, and Petrus hits the post.
What a ball in from Hanamub from the left back slot. Great ball in up towards Muziu, and it goes out. Lively start from the Namibians early on.
Yeah, Namibia making their intentions very clear early on in the second half. Beautiful ball once again from Hanamu, but that earlier chance from Petrus, he won the ball off the feet of Okomu, and then unfortunately just the upright was the difference between him and opening the scoring. Great touch there from Omondi to push it onto the upright, but that's the closest we've come to a goal this evening.
I do think Petrus was well within his right to have a go, because the forwards, Peter Shalulile, might have just been offside for Namibia. That's the closest that either nation have come to scoring in this tie. And it fell to Namibia, and Petrus, who also had quite a decent showing in that first half. Didn't make too many entries into the penalty area of Kenya, but he did did so on that occasion. There's a free kick given against Kenya, given against Obiero. Dion Hoto goes down to ground.
That could easily be a yellow card because that is an elbow thrown at the throat or even the face of Dion Hoto there. And it is Onyango. I don't know if he was trying to protect the ball, but that is aggressively so, and that is violently so, I would even say. And he would be very, very lucky if he stays on the field, given the way that he tried to protect the ball, because that was literally an elbow thrown at the, and he hits and goes at the throat of Dion Hoto. Very dangerous play there. We'll see exactly, and it was right in front of the fourth official. We'll see what the decision is after that incident.
And it seemed like it was also just right on his Adam's apple as well. Clear elbow thrown from Onyango. Mixed martial art move, one would think. Not deserving to be on a football field. So we'll have to wait and see what the referee decides to do here, Mike.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Onyango's already on a yellow. So that certainly would be a second yellow, and he would have to go off the field. It seems like he's, you know, taking the cautious approach because he knows that he is on a yellow card. But that, for me, definitely could even have been a straight red. But he remains on the field. The ref knows that he's on a yellow card, and I think he's just taken a lenient approach there. But for me, that definitely was, at the very least, a booking.
And while he was saying that, Mark, Colin Benjamin down below us was sarcastically clapping his hands in the face of Salisu Bashir. Make of that what you will. Here's Amutenya for Namibia. Quite a very fervent start to this second half. Dion Hoto looks to combine with Hanemu.
I think the benefit that they also have down this left side is that there are times where Hanemu and Dion Hoto almost switch positions. We know that Hoto operates in the left fullback position at times for Orlando Pirates, and so very adept at playing in that position.
It seems exactly like they've swapped there now. Dion Hoto filling out at left fullback and now slowly being replaced by Hanemu. Here's Amutenya, squeezes out a ball to Dion Hoto. It's taken off him by Obiero. And then Hanemu also hits the turf in some anguish. Also a neck blow, a face blow. Another elbow.
And the ref, the play is carrying on.
Big chance there for Kenya as well.
I mean, there's a player down on the field. The ball was out of play. The ref allowed the throw to be taken. And, you know, there certainly was an elbow that was thrown there. The ref allowed play to go even though Hanemu was down on the ground, and they nearly conceded from it. So some, you know, suspect refereeing in the last minute or two. Definitely on the, you know, it's worrying that two now yellow cards have just been overlooked purely.
You can even argue for a straight red, but that could have also easily ended up in the back of the net, resulting from that elbow that was thrown. Not a very convincing save from Kazapua, but he managed to smother it in the end.
Yeah, certainly he didn't hold on to it. He didn't push it to the side. He was able to recover, but again, you know, that was certainly an elbow thrown at Hanemu, and this time it was, I think, not Otieno, but Nondi, the operating in the right fullback position, and Hanemu is showing him, look at, you know, he's probably got a bump on his side now, but certainly an elbow thrown there, and nothing given, not even a foul, not a stoppage, and the ball went out for a throw. The ref allowed the throw to be taken while Hanemu was on the ground. Certainly not good enough.
One of the members of Namibia's medical staff is also having a word with the fourth official, Grandma Mohammed from Nigeria, and I think that second elbow was even more blatant than the first one.
It certainly was. I mean, you could see how the arm was thrown at the player, at Hanemu. And so certainly, again, Nondi lucky to still be alive on the field, because he should even have gone for an early shower given that that throw of an elbow.
And this time, a call goes in favor of Namibia. And the Kenyan players are surrounding the referee this time around. Peter Shalolile using his body to good effect. Ahono just too overbearing.
Well, this is quite a long way out, but this is certainly Dion Hotto range. We've seen him knock them in from this distance, and he will fancy himself from this position. Quite a few guys around the ball at the moment, and we'll see exactly who's going to take control of the situation.
So as you said, Mark, now one player's gone, two players have gone, Prince Chiesa. So
It's Shidolo and Hotto around the ball.
Dion Hotto eyeing it up. Looks like it will be Dion Hotto, and it is. Goes against the world champion for Peter Shalulile, goes for the acrobatic spectacular. And it ends up being just a simple Namibian throw. Hotto in the mood to take it quickly, he does so. Hotto on the right boot this time, slightly overcooks that cross, very much overcooks that cross. Now it's going to be a Kenyan throw on the other side of the field. Ambitious attempt by the Namibian assassin.
Yeah, certainly. I think it was on for the overhead kick, but it was one captain versus the other, and Okomu was brave in getting there.
Here's Avire, though, on the march for Kenya. Shrugs off Kambaripa, but Kambaripa does exceptionally well to pull off a really good block.
He recovers beautifully there, Kambaripe.
Now it's Kenyan Namibian ball yet again. Here's Muziu. Forced to go backwards to Kazapua. Very energetic stuff from both these units in this second half. Dion Hotto playing a lot wider than what he did in that first half. Colin Benjamin not exactly happy with that attempted through ball from Amutenya. What do you think is going through his mind, Colin Benjamin?
Well, you know, right now, obviously, whether or not he needs to change things from the bench, that ultimately what changes he can make. I think they are dominant at the moment. You don't want to break the momentum either, but those are the questions that would be plaguing his mind. I think if anybody hasn't really contributed enough, or if there was a sub probably to be made, I think Muziu is probably the first option on the list, because he hasn't really contributed enough to warrant staying on the field. Whereas Shalulile, Hotto, and you know the rest of the front or the attack have really put their bodies about and contributed in some shape or form. I think he needs to really up his game there out on the right flank.
Now, Peter Shalulile did incredibly well initially, but the flag, the offside flag, was just raised. Although Ohono is much bigger, much taller than Peter Shalulile. Just goes to show how wise Shalulile is when his back is towards the goal. Here come Kenya, though. Free kick. The referee needed to make up his mind quickly, and it looks like he's awarded a free kick to Kenya, almost on the edge of the box.
He wasn't sure which way to blow. I mean, he's been very shaky in the start of the second half, I must tell you, because he seemed like he was going to give the foul to Namibia. In turn now has given it to Kenya, and I think rightfully so. As we saw there, Ambira just blocking the path of his opponent, but ultimately the ref seemed to be a little confused as to which way the foul should have gone.
There was another instance of a player that's already been booked, taking the risk by making another challenge. But no second yellow for either one of the three players that have been booked so far. Avire, after making that very incisive run, looks like he'll be taking charge of this free kick for Kenya. Muziu, Peter Shalulile, the 2 of 5 in this Namibian wall. Next to them is Obiero. So let's see what Avire can produce for the Harambee Stars. They need something quite special. This game is crying out for someone to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Can Avire do so for the Kenyans? Avire, nice hit, and it's a brilliant strike. A gorgeous goal to afford Kenya the lead against Namibia. Spectacular from Avire.
An absolutely stellar free kick there from Avire, and you know, somewhat against the run of play, if we can say that, as Kenya are looking to make their first sub. But what a strike there from Avire. He has seen their most, or has seemed to be their most potent goal threat. He's put the Namibian defense under pressure all evening long, but what an absolutely stellar strike to open the scoring and break the deadlock here in Orlando.
caught it sweetly, and Kazapua was scrambling and well beaten in the end. We saw Prince Chuesa go close from a similar kind of range, and Kazapua will be left slightly frustrated seeing that he got a hand onto it, but you can't take anything away from that wondrous free kick goal.
What an absolutely stellar strike. And you can see now the coaches are being very smart in their approach, because Onyango is being substituted. Onyango now makes way, and it is Munguna who comes onto the field, and he was, you know, toying with that red card because he is on a yellow, and he was toying with that second yellow, and that's why he's now been substituted. But if I'm Colin Benjamin, I am livid, because those are the fine lines that games are made of. It was a deserved yellow card. It should have been a red card, and now they find themselves a goal down. How telling is that one important decision?
Olivire had the honor of scoring Kenya's first goal during these AFCON qualifiers. And in terms of the news in the other match at halftime between Zimbabwe and Cameroon, it was also scoreless in that tie. We'll keep you up to date if there are any updates. Almost an hour in, and Kenya have broken the deadlock. The underdogs are ahead against the favorites. Now it might just force Namibia to be a little bit more adventurous and ambitious, and that's a ball in from Peter Shalulile, and it's cleared from Akumo Agay. Back into the mix. Still there for the Brave Warriors, if they are brave enough to try and equalize. As for Kenya, they just need to keep things nice and sharp and tidy at the back for the next few minutes or so, Mark.
Yeah, certainly. You know, it is going to be really tight now, and Namibia are going to have to really come out and make sure they put Kenya to the sword.
Namibia did have a plethora of opportunities to score against Tunisia the last time they played here in Orlando. Well, there's another parry from Amondi Oriambo. Second time that has happened this match. But no danger done.
No danger done, and they will take their time. You know that Kenya now in the ascendancy, they'll eat up as much of the clock as possible. They'll take their time in everything they're about to do.
So Colin Benjamin is also preparing a change of his own. Cole Karuwombe is rumored to be introduced shortly. Here's Muziu for Namibia. On the overlap is Kamberipa. Muziu finds Kamberipa. And it's shut down yet again from Eric Otieno. But it is a Namibian corner kick. Big character test for the home side.
Well, now it's about that delivery from Dion Hoto. We know the quality he has from the dead ball. He needs to deliver something special for the likes of the big men, Mutenya as well as Hambira, to get on the end of. They take it short.
Very good ball into the box. Rising highest was Amutenya, just nodding wide for Namibia.
Amutenya rose beautifully, but Hambira was just standing on the near post. And when it gets knocked back into that near post position, Hambira's not attacking the ball. If he attacks that ball, that could have been the equalizer, but that anticipation not there on the part of Hambira. And so the chance has gone a-begging for Namibia.
Still a half an hour to go in this crucial qualifier between Kenya and Namibia. Colin Benjamin and his troops are staring down the barrel of a second consecutive defeat during these qualifiers, but there's still more than enough time to turn their fortunes around. Muziu faces Eric Otieno. Otieno does exceptionally well for Kenya yet again. He's been a good watch tonight, both offensively and defensively. Avire, the goal scorer for Kenya. The spectacular goal scorer for the Kenyans. Here's Abuya, shapes up for the cross. Hanamub, good show of strength and does well to marshal him out, but it's a corner kick for Namibia.
Abuya does beautifully there to make sure that he gets something out of nothing, because he was being forced into the corner by Hanamub. He backheels it onto Hanamub out for the corner kick, and you know, wins a corner for his team and keeps the chance alive.
So the scenes would be absolutely obscene if Kenya can double their advantage in next to no time. You mentioned the delivery of Dion Hoto. Well, Eric Otieno has also been quite threatening from the dead ball. Let's see what he can produce this time around. Otieno again for Kenya. There was a flick on attempted by Abuya. He puts it back in there, and it was on for Akumu, but it just cruised over his head.
Yeah, certainly he drives it across the goal after he gets the loose ball in the 18 area there, and he just looks to just put it in there, and Akumu comes through on the far post but isn't able to get anywhere near it.
Just required that delicate little floated cross back towards the far post. Instead it was hit with some pace by Abuya. Rushed though by that Namibian defense. Good header again from Akumu. Peter Shalulile contesting in the air. Petrus knocking it on. Dion Hotto flicking it on to Hanamub. Hanamub heads it back to Dion Hotto. And Mugano just putting it out of play. So a chance then for Colin Benjamin here to instill those two changes for Namibia. Karuwambe is the first and Katua will be the second.
Well, Amutenya, the centre back, comes out as well. That's an interesting one.
So it looks like Katua will replace him, and then a change in the midfield as well.
Shidolo.
Yeah. So what difference can the substitutes make then for the Brave Warriors? Karuwambe is on in place of Shidolo in that midfield zone. Here's Petrus, still on the field. Here's Katua, first contribution from him. Does find a Namibian shirt. There's Kazapua. Launches one long up towards Peter Shalulile, who has been very closely watched by Ohono. I think it's a man-marking kind of instruction that Ohono received maybe from Engine Firat. Here's Karuwambe. Now, didn't reach Hanamub. Here's Abuya. He's also grown with confidence as the contest has gone on. And Namibia are on the ropes, man.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, their backs are to the wall now. They need to make sure that they fight back. It's going to need a monumental effort because they haven't really created any clear-cut chances up to this point. And so they need to really get forward and make sure they put bodies forward in that 18 area of Kenya.
Petrus seeked the run of Peter Shalulile, and the doors were shut again by Ohono. Quick throw in then. Work to be done here by Eric Otieno. Here's Muziu, who'll try to cut it back or to win a corner. Does neither. And Kenya emerge with possession. And they give it right back to Hambira. Petrus up towards Dion Hotto. Again, slightly overcooked. It's been a night of nearlies for Namibia so far.
Yeah, so near yet so far for Namibia because the beautiful run made in there by Dion Hotto. Petrus just trying to dink it over that defense, but just getting too much on it. You know, just that final ball is missing for Namibia at the moment. They need to get it right in order to get back in this game.
So if this result remains unchanged and the one in Uganda between Zimbabwe and Cameroon, Cameroon will remain at top spot and Kenya will go second above Zimbabwe. So Cameroon for the time being on 4 points, Kenya on 4 points, Zimbabwe 2 and Namibia on 0. Things are still subject to change and to develop. Here's Eric Otieno, a very good ball into the box and an early test for the substitute Katua, and he passes it.
He does beautifully because he was being put under immense pressure there from Ayunga. He does beautifully to make sure he gets there ahead of his opponent.
There's that devilish delivery yet again from Eric Otieno. And just got ahead of Ayunga, who's been an absolute nuisance for that Namibian backline. Not frequently, but every time a ball is delivered into the box, he's quite physical. Here's Omondi Oriambo. And every opportunity they'll get to waste some time, believe Kenya will definitely take that opportunity just to stall the progress of Namibia. Here's Muziu. His cross is yet again blocked. It's not the first time that has happened in the last few minutes or so. Here's Odada. Now Vire gives chase. He's in a foot race with Hambira. There's maybe another elbow.
Well, I think it was just he came down on Ambira as Ambira slid there. You know, he tried to jump and get out the way, but landed on him awkwardly. I think there was less in that than the two elbows we saw earlier, to be honest with you, Ray. Definitely the two elbows earlier, more deserving of a yellow card than that challenge from Avire.
So the goal scorer, John Avire, is booked. Hambira went to ground first, and it was a clean challenge. And then, like you said, Mark, he just fell on top of Avire. A little bit harsh, maybe, from the referee?
I think very harsh, because he was literally he was actually trying to get out the way. He jumped up to try, you know, to avoid Ambira, but unfortunately came down on him. And that's where, you know, the yellow card is from.
A shrug from Okumu on Hanamub, sending him to the advertising boards.
I think that's one of those shoulder barges just to say, hey, bud, I'm here.
He gave chase, did Hanamub, and a typical Okumu confrontation.
The man who plays in France for Reims, making sure he makes his presence felt here in this match.
It's nodded on there, up towards Odada. The referee quick on the scene though, quickly giving a free kick in favor of Namibia. So it does deserve a mention that the Namibians have put together a well-constructed and staunch record here in South Africa. The COSAFA Cup aside, the last nation state to defeat the Brave Warriors in South Africa was Togo in November of 2021. So it's been some time that they have lost at this venue. And talking about elbows, because we were just leaving something on Odada over there.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen when VAR becomes a reality in South Africa. Then I think that's going to make things very interesting. Again, now look at this play array. This, again, will infuriate any coach. Muziu is running. He gets the touch, but he doesn't allow the ball. He literally kicked it out. I thought it was going to be a goal kick, but he should just allow it to go out for a throw, and so they can keep applying pressure.
Muziu is definitely one of the newer faces in this Colin Benjamin setup. First exposed to the national team during the recent COSAFA Cup. He's played with a lot of promise and purpose, but lacks that cutting edge. And as is the case for most of the Namibian attackers. Remember, the closest they've come to scoring was that hit from Petrus that was saved by that man in picture. And it clipped the upright as well. And not too long after, Avire scored an absolute stunner of a free kick. There's about 20 minutes to go of normal time. It's all about game management now for the Arambi Stars. As for Namibia, Mark, you would think that they need to up the tempo, provide a little bit more. Maybe Colin Benjamin might have to make a few more substitutions, because they are lacking something.
Well, I think one thing that unfortunately plagues the Namibian team is their strength in depth. You know, what do they have on their bench? And that's always going to be a worry for them. We saw it at the AFCON as well. They had their, you know, strong starting 11, maybe one or two off the bench that really could provide a big change or a spark, but not too much to offer on the bench, I think.
Petrus. It's a bit of a waste there of a free kick, and it's kept in play by Omondi Oriambo. He just takes his sweet time. It definitely is irrefutable that before the 2024 season began, Kenyan football was in a state of total disarray, but things have remarkably changed for the better. Kenya have played 8 matches this calendar year before this one, and believe it or not, Comoros are the only team to have defeated them in 2024. So they are the team in form. Muziu. Peter Shalulile for Namibia now. Here's Petrus. Moves slowed down and a little bit staggered. Now Karuwambe. And then Hambira. It's a little bit too careful, too conservative from Namibia for now, playing with in their shell. They need to come out and express themselves. And here's Katua. Prince Chiwesa. Interesting position that he's occupying now. Shaping up for a cross. It's deflected and it's headed out. Bayohono falls to Muziu. Good footwork. Still at his feet. Muziu Hangs it up there towards the far post. Prince Chiweza heads it, takes a deflection, hits that upright for the second time tonight.
Yeah, certainly very unlucky there. Chiweza with the header. I think he was trying to knock it back into the 18 area. Comes off a Kenyan head onto the post. Very unlucky. Marginal lines there for Namibia.
So will it be third time lucky here for Namibia? Muziu was lining up a volley attempt on that far post, and now Kenya are on the break. And the run is on from Avire. Test here for Kamberipa. And he does stall the progress of Avire. Here's Eric Otieno. Still Otieno. He'll go with the right boot, and it's a decent stop from Kazapua.
A routine stop, it has to be said, and you'd expect him to make those saves. But great counter there from Kenya.
Seemed like it's going to be a half of counter-attacks, or the final few minutes will be scattered with counter-attacks. What a hit. And I think it just took a deflection.
It did take a deflection. It is Prince there. Great strike ultimately, and the deflection is what really nearly beat Omondi. They left him flat-footed and nearly just floated into the back of the net.
So he's produced two massive opportunities for Namibia in the last few moments. Has Prince Chiweza. Remember his free kick in the first half as well. Very ambitious goal. And they've got another opportunity from this corner kick. Prince Chiweza puts it in there. It's a poor free kick to say the least. Hanamub, very good delivery, and it's nodded over.
And it's Ambira there who got in behind the Kenyan defense when that ball was floated in by Hanamub. Unfortunately not able to guide his header on target, and he was onside as he came out level with Ayunga, but unfortunately not able to get the header on target.
So it's definitely palpable that Namibia are stepping on the gas. The question is, will it be enough as we approach the final quarter of an hour here between Namibia and Kenya? Ambira pokes it beyond the halfway line. Pietrus. Here's Karuwombe. Fakes, passes, Pietrus. Nice ball to Prince Chiweza. Difficult one for the young man to get under his spell. Risky ball across the face there. Difficult one for Eric Otieno to deal with, and this is what we spoke about during the first half.
It's like hot potato. Like nobody wants the ball, and so they just give it off with heavy passes to their own teammates. And it's just not good enough at this level, unfortunately.
A throw in here for the Brave Warriors. Throw in here for Kamberipa. Here's Muziu, expecting more of himself. His colleagues expecting more from him, his coach as well, and he's won a corner kick for the Brave Warriors. They are starting to tally up those corner kicks.
Well, great stuff there from Muziu to win the corner. Now delivery from Dion Hotto. It has to be good. They have to get bodies forward, but also make sure that they are not susceptible to the counter.
4 or 5 players now in the box for Dion Hotto to try and pick out, and he can only pick out Okumo. Here come Kenya again. Very threatening on the break. It's their left fullback, Eric Otieno. It's on here. Can they surely wrap it up? Maybe. It's 2-0. Beautiful, blistering counter-attack from the Harambee Stars, and they are starting to glitter this evening in Orlando, and Namibia are crumbling at the seam.
I just said it a second ago, Ray. I just said they need to make sure they're not susceptible to the counter-attack, and ultimately Abuya is the one who puts it in the back of the net after some great work by Otieno. Otieno on the foot race, a clear foot race. He beats Hanamub and puts the ball across the goal, and Abuya does the rest to just slot it into the back of the net. But the initial mistake comes from the substitute, ultimately allowing the ball to beat him. Karumbe, the ball bounces over him, and that allows Otieno to get a clean run through on goal. And yes, Namibia currently are crumbling.
Now how will they respond? 2 goals to nothing for the Kenyans. Absolutely lethal on the counter-attack. Mistake, as you mentioned, by the young man, the substitute Karuwombe. And he set them up such in a disciplined fashion and rigidly. And on the break, Kenya have taken their opportunity, something that they didn't do against Zimbabwe, but they have certainly done it here this evening, and now they can make a substitution. Second time that they've scored a goal, and then made a substitution shortly after.
Yeah, certainly. I think they want to shore things up now. They want to close up shop. It is ultimately Abud who comes on, another defender for an attacker. The man who's opened the scoring on the day. Absolutely stellar performance from John Avire. As Abud Omar comes on, they surely will now want to just make sure of this result.
So it's still scoreless in Kampala, which means that second goal from Abuya and Kenya places the Harambee Stars at the top of Group J. Great evening for them so far. Question is, what do Namibia have within them? Can they produce something special? Is there a comeback on the cards? It just seemed as if it's not exactly planning out to be their night this evening.
Well, yeah, certainly I think Colin Benjamin's going to have to calm them down. They need to realize that there's still so much football to be played.
Here's Hanamub. Great intervention there at the back. Not twice, but thrice.
Yeah, certainly good work there from Nonde. Made sure that he, just thwarted the efforts of Hanamub, and then ultimately, as Shalulile was coming through, just boots the ball against him, and he wins the throw-in.
Colin Benjamin watching on nervously. And here's Obiero. Now, since the turn of the century, it's been a roller coaster for Kenyan football lovers. Their team has faced 3 suspensions from FIFA, but almost all of these dark moments were succeeded by tremendous results in the COSAFA Cup, satisfactory performances in 2 AFCON tournaments, and of course their 3 COSAFA Cup title runs. And their away supporters are absolutely loving it, soaking it all in. Hanamub cracks it against Oyunga. And there's Odada for Kenya. And then Obiero hangs it up there, almost up and under style, claimed by Kazapua. And he just rolls it out to Hanamub. Not a lot of time in this fixture remains for Namibia. And 2 matches in, they've sustained, if this result stays the same, 2 terrible results, terrible way to start off your AFCON qualification journey.
Yeah, certainly, and Kenya will be very happy. We know that generally in any league format, 2 points per game is good enough to advance from any league format. You'll definitely more than likely finish top 2. They've done themselves every favor of doing so with 4 points if it should stay this way from their opening 2 games. So Kenya will be very happy with how things are going currently.
And here come the Brave Warriors again. Dion Hotto, he needs to make something happen for them, does the Buccaneer. Now Kamberipa, skipped by Karuwambe. Petrus lifts his head, wants some options. Muziu has swapped flanks in the meantime. Hanamub tries to swing it in there, and it's a very good block by Abuya.
Well, the big man in the middle there, Odara, goes down once again. But it's been an eagerly contested match. You can see both teams, what it means to them. And you have to feel for the young man who came on. It is always difficult. One of the hardest things to do in football, Ray, I can tell you that from personal experience, is come on as a sub.
So I initially thought it was from the ball, and then it just seemed as if Muziu just clearly elbowed Odada in the midriff.
Well, that's been the order of the day, and the officials are missing all these moments, unfortunately, and it certainly doesn't bode well for the officials when this game does get reviewed.
So considering all the dubious calls, Kenya definitely do deserve the lead. They've been more clinical, like you mentioned, in the opposing box. Salisu Bashir blows his whistle and gets us going again. Here's Katua for Namibia. Hanamub on the overlap, and in close proximity is Abuya. Now, before this duel kicked off, Namibia did find it a challenge to convert goal-scoring opportunities, which is quite surprising considering their attacking talent across their last 10 matches. Now 11, the Brave Warriors have only scored in 6 of them. That must be a concern for Mr. Benjamin.
No, that certainly will be a concern. Their ability to put the ball in the back of the net, or lack thereof, is a big worry. And I mean, in this game, they've gotten into great areas territorially, but not being able to profit from it.
Dion Hotto whips it in there, outswinger. Good early call from Amondi Odhiambo to take some of that pressure off.
And they certainly will not be in a hurry to get proceedings underway. And I can tell you, Ray, that it is still 0-0 between Zambia and Cameroon. Some of the other results, obviously, one important one for COSAFA region is that Botswana are currently 3-0 down at home to Egypt.
Pharaohs absolutely relentless in their pursuit to not only qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations, but to win it again, to try and win it again. They've been quite disappointing in the last few editions of that tournament. Now, time for another substitution, a Namibian one. Dunyenma will come on to replace Muzeu. And it's a change that you've been predicting for quite some time.
Well, yeah, I think he's been better in the second half, but certainly still not enough to really help out and make a difference for the nation.
But Dunyenma will definitely try to instill that difference for the Brave Warriors. Can they produce something from this free kick? It's out by Ukumu. Falls to Karuwambe. Another throw into Namibia. Karuwambe finds his fellow substitute, who spins, not twice. And then it's yet again another Namibian throw-in. They're in a rush, considering the scoreline. Karuwambe puts it in there, puts it in the mix, and it's dealt with, again, very appropriately by Kenya. And now there's a big chance here for Ayunga. He goes to ground. What does the referee decide to do? Initially, Kenyan free kick, but then change his mind. It's a Namibian free kick.
And there was advantage to Namibia, so you don't understand why he stopped the play, because Namibia had the ball. Some really, I mean, I think he had a beautiful first half of this game, but second half of the game certainly hasn't been that good for him.
Not much wrong with that challenge. Nonetheless, play continues. Now the Harambee Stars have obtained some mammoth results ever since that FIFA-induced ban. Results that range from a draw with AFCON champions Cote d'Ivoire to a thrilling draw with Russia last year, and a thumping win over Zambia as well as Malawi and the Seychelles. Now tonight they are agonizingly close to obtaining a massive victory against Namibia for the third time in their history. It's safe to say that Kenyan football really has come a long way. Here's Ayunga. Good piece of footwork to entice the foul from Katua. Clever play from the number 9. Not amongst the goals this evening, but he's certainly been heavily involved, and he's kept that Namibian backline on their toes and pegged back as well. It's going to be a free kick here, very close to the right-hand touch line. Katua is the next player to see yellow. One of 5 players to be booked this evening. Kenya launch it up there. Ayunga. And there's whispers in my ear that Kenya and Engine Firat will make one more change, or at least one more change. Hanamub. Switches. Karuwambe is brave to stick his head in that tricky spot. Good steal there from Dunyenma. And he's on the march. So is Dion Hotto for the Brave Warriors. On the Cruyff turn. Great ball in from Dion Hotto, but a tad too close to Amondi Odhiambo, who falls on top of the ball. They are so close to obtaining a mammoth victory. A mammoth 3 points against Namibia. will have to put their best foot forwards in all of their next 4 qualifiers in October and then in November. Namibia just lets it run. So if one is to quickly glance over the other AFCON qualification groups, you'll quickly be able to discern as to who are the favorites for qualification. The Atlas Lions of Morocco are cruising in their group. So too are Tunisia in Group A. And Kenya are looking extremely threatening in Group J. Egypt also look well poised in Group C. Nigeria are in a tricky and slippery group, but they have started off quite well as well. And Algeria are favourites in Group E. Angola looks set to qualify from Group F. And the same definitely applies to Cote d'Ivoire, DRC and Senegal in their groups. And so far, the groups that are most difficult to read and predict is this Group J and even Bafana Bafana's group. So another Kenyan change, Victor Omunye. A big number 9, Oyunga, has run a tremendous race tonight. Applauds the Kenyan supporters that have been quite loud considering their minimal numbers. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes to go of normal time. Out again, so Namibia have yet another throw in. They have to start throwing caution to the wind and to throw the kitchen sink at the Harambee Stars. They might have just left it a little bit too late. Stolen again here from Karuwambe. It's stolen back, however, from Eric Otieno, who's been a tremendous watch as well in the Kenyan white tonight. And the 2025 AFCON tournament will have an interesting run time, to say the least. Will start on December the 21st and end on the 18th of January in 2026. So the players might just have to have a Christmas in July, because their festive season will be full of toil and sacrifice. But before then, we will also know which 10 African states will be heading to the Americas in 2026 for the next FIFA World Cup. When it comes to these two and their qualification aspirations for the World Cup, Namibia are chasing and only second to Tunisia in their group, while Kenya are hovering in 4th in their group. Unfortunately for them, they are 5 points behind Cote d'Ivoire, who appear as heavy favourites in that World Cup qualification group. But in the AFCON qualification group, in this Group J, Kenya are currently up top. 10 seconds to go of normal time. 4 minutes have been added on by the 4th official. Hambira. Great ball out to Hanamub. Here's Prince Chuesa hitting the post, and now he delivers a ball into the box up towards Peter Shalulile. It's going to be picked up here by Kambaripa, who preferred just to let it run out of play and prefers to rather receive a Dion Hotto corner kick. They need to make something happen now to Namibia. Dion Hotto rolls it. Prince Chuesa. Good hit. Comes out to Karuwambe, who's dispossessed again. Kenya on the move, trying to redo what they just did a few moments ago. It's still there. Big chance here for Kenya to wrap it up and to make it 3-love. They failed to do so. Namibia definitely on the ropes. And it seemed as if Kenya were favourites to produce their 3rd goal. A 4v2 situation there. They really should have capitalized on that moment. Omar cutting it back and nearly finding Okumu Age and Eric Otieno. So there are 2 more international windows to go in 2024, one in mid-October and another in mid-November. Namibia will be in action again on the 7th and the 15th of October, and in both those matches, their opponents will be a tricky Zimbabwean outfit. You would think that they would have to win at least one of those ties and avoid defeat in the other. And Namibia will reunite with Kenya again on the 19th of November later this year. It will be the team's final match of 2024 and final match before the World Cup qualification process resumes in March 2025. And Kenya will recover and celebrate this victory and go again in less than a month's time when they face what could in all likelihood be their toughest challenge yet, a top of the table clash in Group J, being a match against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Abuya. Good contest there with Peter Shalulile. Kambaripa now Hambira. Does fall to Kambaripa, who has some space to venture into. Looked for Peter Shalulile, but it was intercepted by Eric Otieno. That's a high foot. And Karuwambe goes to ground, clutching his face, and now he's back up again. Might just be another yellow card for Kenya. And another free kick opportunity for Namibia for a consolation goal. But dangerous there from Victor Ochami Omunye. High foot, high boot to the face of Karuwambe, who was again brave in that instance. Three-man wall and one imposing goalkeeper to try and defeat. Two big saves from him in this second half to fingertip the ball onto his right hand upright. Dion Hotto, it's probably going to be him again. It is Dion Hotto. Can he give Namibia something to shout about? And he does. That is an absolute jewel of a free kick. This time around, Omondi Oriyambo was absolutely helpless, and that is a gorgeous goal from Dion Hotto. And as you would expect, celebrations are mute because it's definitely too late. So no clean sheet for Kenya. And Dion Hotto scores Namibia's first goal in these Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. And that is it. Final contribution was an absolute beauty from Dion Hotto. And the game, after a lackluster first half, really was ignited into full life in the second half. 3 goals were scored. First one was scored by Avire, wonderful free kick, and then Abuya capitalized off a blistering counter-attack. And then the final contribution of the game after Namibia hit the post twice in the second half, Dion Hotto scoring from quite a distance away. Brilliant job done by Kenya to secure maximum points here in Orlando. As for the other match between Zimbabwe and Cameroon, it's still scoreless in that one. And I think just because of that Dion Hotto goal, Kenya will slide back down to second and Cameroon will occupy first temporarily. So at least they had that free kick to shout about and cheer for. Typical Dion Hotto, spectacular and a showpiece goal. Peter Shalulile was heavily involved in the first half, slightly isolated in the second half. Frustrating night for him, frustrating night for Namibia, because they have been defeated by the mighty underdogs. It ends Namibia 1, Kenya 2. So a quick glance over the full-time statistics. Namibia had more of the possession. They had 4 shots on target, as did Kenya. The crucial stat reads Namibia 1 and Kenya 2. A plethora of cards, a plethora of dubious decisions. Nonetheless, Kenya will leave Orlando with 3 very, very important points. So this next bit is very important. So Kenya are top of Group J. In close proximity is Cameroon. Those two are tied with 4 points apiece. Zimbabwe are still currently on 2 points if they can just shore things up at the back against Cameroon for the final few minutes. Namibia have played 2 matches and they've been defeated twice. So thank you for your company. massive result here for Kenya as they obtain a 2-1 victory over Namibia. So some of the fixtures that will be coming your way in the next international break, which will be in October: Cameroon against Kenya, Namibia versus Zimbabwe, Kenya, then the return fixture against Cameroon, probably that one will take place in Uganda, and then Zimbabwe and Namibia will in all likelihood reunite here at the Orlando Stadium. A great match of football, especially in the second half. Eventful, entertaining, and the night belongs to Kenya.
Coach, tough evening this evening. Your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, very tough, very tough. I think the reason that we had this defeat is simple. That I think we didn't bring the energy, we didn't bring the aggression. For some reason, also we didn't really commit to the duels. And I mean, at international soccer, those are the basics that you have to bring with to be able to compete. And then through competing, then you're able to have a chance and win a match. So all in all, I would say, yeah, it was just really a bad day at the office. We have to pick up. We have to pick it up. Something that shouldn't happen again, and then we have to look forward.
When we look at the fouls count, it's 20-7. I mean, would you say that had a role to play in interrupting how you guys wanted to go through the processes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is international soccer, it is men's soccer, it is senior soccer. So you're going to do everything possible to bring the advantage towards you. So in that regard, I think it's another learning curve for our boys and how to handle these kind of situations. It's a lot of, these external factors that you have to try and bring to your advantage. And I think Kenya did it well, and congratulations to them.
Coach, I have to ask, that possible second yellow, how big an impact do you think that had on the match? I mean, it would have been a red card for Onyango. It seemed like a deliberate elbow. Your thoughts on that?
I think, you just don't want to talk about those things. I think we had the first half a similar incident, and it was a yellow card given. He's on a yellow, so I mean, we all know and see. So all in all, I think we can talk about that, but Kenya have scored 2 goals, and they're the winners, and you have to congratulate them. All other things, yeah, everybody then has to analyze that and see how they can get better in their own department. So just like we will have to analyze this and try and get better.
Coach, we appreciate it. All the best for the matches moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Coach, congratulations. Job done. 3 points. That's what you came for.
Yes, true. And especially in our conditions, well, like I said also before, we have so many missing players, and then I cannot say that our preparation was really well. And if you look at the history, Kenya is used to lose always here. This is also my message to the people in Kenya, because there are some coaches who lose always here, but still they talk. So for us, it was very important, even in this situation with so many missing players, and we are not a big football country where we can change so many players to win. And we know also it was very difficult here. Namibia is a very good trained team. They are very disciplined. They have some really good boys offensively. So, but we was, I think, tactically very well prepared for it. And in the end, all the plans are gone well, except the last goal. This was not planned. So we are happy, and now we will focus for the next matches. But still, I heard also you ask now if it's over for Namibia. I don't believe it. In this group, everything is possible. I would be not wondering when Namibia wins 2 matches against Zimbabwe. So everything is very close. Some details decide. You saw it also today. So for us also, it's only a start. Important is the last match, that we have enough points to be in the first 2.
Well, when you look at the overall play, you looked almost like you had a 4-2-4 formation in attack. You wanted to bombard them with numbers up front?
Yeah, of course. Last match we tried more with our talented, gifted players, but we have some Kenyan league, as I say it always, too soft, and these players have international problems. So therefore I decided today to go on with 2 central forwards, with classic central forwards. So, but then I changed a little bit because we had some problems in the midfield. Some player was always free, especially when when Shaluli came back, he had too much space. So we changed something, and in the end, in the second half, in the dressing room, I tried to fix some points which I didn't like, and we got the results in the end.
Cameroon up next. I mean, that's the big encounter. How do you approach that one?
If we have a full squad, then it will be not nice for Cameroon, I promise.
We really appreciate it, Coach, and all the best moving forward.
Thank you.
Young man.
Oh, how wise Shalulile is.
Substitution for Namibia is number 16.
Very good friend of mine.